Okay, so hey there guys. So today's video is going to be a palettes I'm still interested in. Um, I kind of have a wish list that I've accumulated of different eyeshadow palettes that I still want to mention and talk about on my channel. So I thought this would be a fun video to do. I am wearing my friend's shirt today because honestly, I just kept my shirt on that I slept in because, what's the point? I mean, at the same time, yes, of course you should get dressed, but like since I go to my boyfriend's house and I get dressed like every day to see him, I just wanted to stay in this shirt today because I love this shirt. So we're going to go through the different palettes that are on my list. There are quite a few still. Why am I showing you text messages? So I have like a whole list right here that I'm going to go through, and it says palettes I'm thinking about getting in 2020. So let's just go through them. I don't have too much time to film this video because we're actually going to eat dinner soon. Today is actually Passover, so happy Passover to whoever celebrates. Sorry, my hair is like driving me nuts. It kind of got a little bit crazy while I was cleaning. I cleaned my whole desktop off, like my whole desk, and I feel so good about it. It's like honestly it really just put you in such a good mood cleaning like everything, like taking the time and cleaning stuff. Like my mindset is just on another level. Like I'm really happy right now. I know that there's so much stuff going on right now, but I hope everyone is doing okay. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. But honestly, getting up and cleaning honestly really does help your mindset. And honestly, I know there's a lot of people that have just been doing that and that's it. But yeah, so anyway, let's get into these palettes. So the first like couple of palettes that I'm going to talk about are the ones that are like on the top of my list. Like I really want to get them, and these are like the top 3 brands that I'm going to get, but there's also one palette that I'm going to get that's like not on the top of my list, but I'm going to get it because like the Sephora VIB sale is coming up. Before I get into them, I just wanted to say I took off I think about 2 or 3 palettes off this list before I started filming. The first one is the Anastasia Sultry palette. I've been interested in getting the Anastasia Sultry palette for a while, but I think Anastasia, I want to show you guys my shirt while I'm filming. So I think Anastasia discontinued the Sultry palette because I tried to look for it on Sephora and I didn't see it on there. And then I also checked Anastasia's website and I didn't see it on her website either. So I think it's discontinued. I know you can still get it at Marshall, so I'm not going to include that in this video right now. I know in the last video that I did like similar to this on palettes I've skipped over, or like a couple palettes that I was still looking at again. I said I wanted to get the Soft Glam one, but then I was like, no, I ended up not getting that. I got a ton of different other palettes. And then for the Anastasia palettes, like, I just pushed them to the side because I wasn't really that interested in them because, again, I got too many other palettes. So, not going to worry about that one until, like, Marshall's opens again, and who knows if I'm going to pick it up or not. I might just have totally lost interest in it. And then the other one was Pat McGrath. Like I was kind of looking at a couple of her palettes yesterday because the Sephora sale is coming up, and I'm going to mention the palette that I want to pick up instead a little bit later. But I was looking at her eyeshadow palettes, and honestly, oh my god, so expensive. Like her I think it's 8 pan eyeshadow palettes, or maybe it's 10, $125. Like no thank you. And then her quads, or like her 6 pan palette, I was kind of looking at those, and that's $65. I still think $65 is way too much money to pay for 6 eyeshadows. And then the same thing with the quads. The quads are the same price. I'm like, why are they the same price? Like, I would think that the 6 pan would be a little bit more expensive and the quads would be a little bit cheaper, but the quads could be like $50 and the 6 pan palette could be like $65. So I don't know why they're the same price, but I was like, no, hell no, I'm not buying those. I really like don't want to spend any more than like $65, $70 max on an eyeshadow palette. Like I know I own Natasha Denona palettes, but I almost said Denono. Like the fancy face. But the gold palette I didn't end up paying for really. I used that when I exchanged like the makeup items that I got sent from Chip twice. And then the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette was a reasonable enough price. Can I speak? A reasonable enough price for me to pay for. So let's get into these palettes that are still on my list. So the first brand is Makeup Menagerie. Now, I don't know if you guys know that Makeup Menagerie used to be called Makeup Monsters, and I had only ordered like a few of their lipsticks back when they were Makeup Monsters. So I haven't gotten anything from the brand in a really, really long time. I also didn't put any jewelry on today because I just didn't feel like it. But anyway, so they recently changed their name, I think over a year ago or so, to Makeup Menagerie or Menagerie. And I do have a picture of the palette that I was interested in. So the palette I wanted to get was the Killer Purr palette, and this is what it looks like, and here's some swatches for you guys. It's a really pretty palette. It has like kind of like a safari kind of theme because it's a lion themed palette. And it did look like a really pretty palette, but in the end, I was like, I don't really think I'm really going to reach for this palette all too much because yes, it has more neutrals in it, so I felt like, you know, this might be the perfect opportunity for me to try Makeup Menagerie. But when I look at the color scheme, like there's too many colors in here. And at the same time, like when I look at it, I don't think that these colors really go with each other. I know that, you know, this is like somebody else's dream palette because I know that you could do like pops of color on the lower lash line and stuff like that. But since we're like, you know, not even really wearing makeup right now, or I'm just wearing like my neutral palettes, like I don't really need this palette, honestly. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer to see if they release like any type of neutral palette or a different palette that might catch my eye like later in the year, or I might just buy like a 6-pan palette from them. But honestly, I'm not really too interested in any of their other palettes right now because all of them are a little bit too colorful for me. And also I feel like this palette was very similar to like the Lion King palette from Luminous Cosmetics, and I do love that palette. I feel like it's very similar to this though, since they're both lion themed palettes. And I also thought that since there was only 2 shimmers in this palette, I felt like that was still kind of limiting because even though I don't want to overwhelm myself with shimmers, it just wasn't enough options for me. And I find that the Luminous Cosmetics palette has more options for lid shades, and I love that palette, that I don't need like another lion themed palette. So I decided to skip over it, so I'm not going to get that one. I'm probably just going to delete it off this list, actually, because I feel like I just convinced myself to not get it. So I'm just going to leave Makeup Menagerie on here because I do want to try their palettes, or one of their palettes, so I'm just going to leave it here, but I'm not going to get the Killer Purr palette. I just know I'm not going to use it. Okay, so the next brand is definitely the one that's like on the top of my list. I am probably going to purchase this palette in May, but I'm going to wait until May to get it because you guys know I did purchase quite a few palettes this past month. I got the Melt one, I got the Kaleidos one, and I got the ColourPop one. So Winky Lux has been on my list for a long time, so I'm just going to click the link for this palette. And the one that I'm interested in getting is the Coffee Kitten palette. Now, for their palettes, honestly, there's a little bit too much shimmer in their palettes for me. But also, sorry, there was like a coupon code that popped up because I went to their website. But they're actually sold at Target now, and I was able to check out the palettes in person like a week and a half ago. But I'm not going back to Target anytime soon. There's honestly just way too many people there. It like kind of makes me nervous being around all those people right now. But I wanted to check out the palettes in person, and they have like a full display of it. So they do have quite a few of the products. Like, it's not like Color Rain or Makeup Geek where they don't have the full line. They have a lot of their products. So, because they did start carrying those brands a little while ago in Target. So this was the one I was the most interested in because the other palettes, honestly, I feel like have too much purple in them and too many shimmers for me to try. That in this palette, I think there's 4 shimmers in it and 6 mattes. It says, add some mojo to your morning with Coffee Kitten palette featuring every neutral shadow shade you'll ever need, like ever. That's cute. 9 shades in matte, satin, and shimmer finishes will take you from your first cup of joe to your last espresso. I just think it's so cute with like the coffee theme. And it also says double as highlighters, and it says 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's like 4 matte shadows in here and like 5 shimmers. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4. So, and then there's like a couple of satins and stuff. So I still think there's a really good mix of like neutrals in here. And I find that again that this one would be the one that I'm most interested in to get. There's not really another picture of it, but you know, this is what it looks like. So, I do think that this would be a good palette for me to try. If you guys have tried any of these palettes that I'm mentioning, please leave your thoughts below. But I'm definitely interested in getting this palette probably next month because I don't want to overwhelm myself with too much eyeshadow right now, and I'm going to pick up a different eyeshadow palette very soon, probably next week. But I'm really interested in trying their brand because I've heard so many good things about their eyeshadow palette. So I think I'm going to get that one probably next month. Okay, so then the next brand I have to talk about is Glamlight. Now, I've been interested in trying Glamlight for a really long time. Chip would always message me and tell me, girl, you need to try their palettes. And I'm like, yeah, I probably do. But I still haven't bit the bullet and got them because, like I said, I just have too many palettes and I just need to get rid of some more if I want to try more, or I've just been trying to work in smaller palettes into my collection, like the Give Me Glow palette was only 8 pan, the Kaleidos one was only 6 pan, etc. Like they weren't like too big for me to be overwhelmed by them. So the next one on my list is the Glamlight Pizza Slice palette. So this is what this one looks like. I'll give you guys a better picture. So it comes with 10 shadows in it, and this is what it looks like. Now, for this one, I thought it would be a better, I know that the light kind of blinds you, but if you guys need pictures of them, you can always look them up. So it comes with 5 shimmers and 5 mattes, but I'm probably not going to get this anytime soon because I feel like it would be a really fun palette for whenever we can start going out again and stuff like that. It's not necessarily like a very neutral palette, so I probably won't get this like until like maybe July or August. But I'm probably gonna wait to get this palette maybe even until next year, like next spring maybe, because it looks like a really fun, like it's not too much color, but also it's like a little bit more reserved. But like at the same time, why would they have bacon be silver? I feel like they should have made it like a different color, but they do have another color in here called Canadian Banadian, and I guess that's why they made that one orange, but they could have made bacon like a different color. Like they could have made chicken silver and then bacon they could have made the gold. Like that would have been made more sense to me. And then the hand color is pink. So like I don't really understand some of the colors in here, like the color names. And sausage is a brown matte. So I understand like the theme is really, really cute. This is the one I'm the most interested in right now. I was also kind of interested in getting like one of their normal palettes, but like I feel like with Glamlight you have to get one of the food themed palettes because it's so cute. And that's what they're known for. But I was watching Jen Love's reviews, and I love her channel. And she was doing like her eyeshadow palette declutter. Like I watched that video finally. I've been wanting to watch it for so long and I finally watched it because, you know, obviously I have the time now. And I was watching it and she was talking about her burger palette, like the Glamlight one. And she said that it started like kind of forming like a oily kind of thing around the shadows. So I don't know if I want to get it then because of the packaging. Like the packaging might be really, really thin, then it might start like forming like some type of film around the eyeshadow. So I feel like that like would like kind of defeat the purpose and like not really get my money's worth out of it. So let me know if you guys have tried Glamlight and if you tried any of the food themed palettes, if that happened to your palettes. I don't know if it's because she has too much eyeshadow that like she just ends up not using them and that ends up happening, but at the same time that shouldn't be happening at all. So I am still interested in trying their palettes, but I don't know if I'm just going to try one of their normal ones or if I'm going to try this one because I still really want to try the Pizza Slice palette. So that is Glam Light. Okay, and then the next palette, like these 5 palettes I'm talking about are the ones that are like I'm the most interested in to get, and 100% I'm probably going to end up getting them like later in the year. So the next palette, I know that ColourPop isn't shipping out right now, but you guys know I've been interested in this palette for a really long time. And I'm talking about the ColourPop Flutterby palette. Now the Flutterby palette is the butterfly themed palette from them. So this is what it looks like. I never know how to zoom in on their website, like because for some reason it doesn't let you zoom into the actual palette. But it's that really cute like butterfly themed palette. It's so adorable. And this one comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 8 mattes and 4 shimmers. Okay, 5 shimmers and 5 mattes, it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 6 shimmers and 5 mattes. So it just looks like a really pretty cool tone palette. It says, we'll take you away with our cool toned soft glam palette. Cool mauves and rich purple in matte metallic and pressed glitter finishes create the dreamiest soft glam look. Now, since I already picked up the Going Coconuts palette, I'm not sure if I'm going to get this one, but I just wanted it because of the butterfly theme, and it just looks like such a pretty palette. Like, every time I look at pictures of it, I keep on convincing myself that I want it. But the last time that I ordered from ColourPop, like, I did have this in and out of my cart, like, a bunch of times. But I decided to get the Going Coconuts palette because I just felt like that was a better buy. It was easier for me to try out. It wasn't too overwhelming. And this one, I think I'm going to save for like possibly May or June. But this one might be the next one I purchase over the Winky Lux one. But at the same time, I'm kind of torn between that one and the Winky Lux one. Between this one and the Winky Lux one because I've never tried Winky Lux before. And obviously you guys know I have quite a bit of ColourPop palettes in my collection. So I'm going to think on this one still. But at the same time, I still really want it. So we'll see. Okay, and then, because I think it'll be a really pretty, like, cool tone pinky mauve palette for spring, but at the same time, I'm not really sure yet. So we'll see. Okay, so then the next palette, so I've been wanting to try Fenty Beauty's eyeshadows for a really long time, but for some reason, with Fenty Beauty, she does a really good, like, face products, lip products, and like, you know, other products like that, but her eye products I've heard aren't that great. Like, her eyeliners aren't very good, I've heard, and her eyeshadows. Like, I've always heard very lackluster reviews about her eyeshadow palettes, but she did recently come out with these Snap Shadow palettes, so I'm going to show you guys that I'm probably most likely going to pick one of these up because they're really small bite-sized eyeshadow palettes, and I think that they're going to be really easy, like, go-to palettes for me to use. And since the Sephora VIB sale is coming up, I felt like I could get this, but at the same time, you know, these palettes aren't that expensive. They're only $25. So the one that I'm interested in the most is the True Neutrals palette, and this is the #1 palette. So this is what it looks like. And it comes with 3 shimmers and with 3 mattes. And honestly, I feel like it would just be a really easy palette to use. I think that these have higher reviews than her older palettes though. But I also heard that these palettes aren't amazing. But like, I feel like, you know, $25 isn't too much of a big deal to spend on a higher end palette. It's a decently priced palette. And since I get 20% off of it, I'm kind of convincing myself to get it now. But also, Rihanna is releasing her blushes on the same day as the sale, which I really want to try one of those blushes. So I'm not sure if I'm going to skip over the palette and just try one of the blushes, but they are cream blushes, so I'm not really sure yet. But this just looks like such an easy palette to use that I'm kind of convincing myself more and more that I want to get it. So let me know if you guys have tried the Fenty Beauty Snap Shadows, how they are. I would really like to know your opinions. Sorry, I just wanted to check if dinner was ready or not. But we only have a few more palettes to talk about, so I might be able to finish this filming this video before dinner's ready. So the next brand I want to talk about is Pinky Rose Cosmetics. Now, I have been interested in trying their eyeshadow palettes, I think ever since, I'm not sure if it was Nikki Tutorials that talked about them first, or Nicole Guerrero. But Nicole Guerrero would always use like that really pretty like peacock palette. I think that's what it's called. And so would Nikki Tutorials. But I think also Nicole Guerrero would always talk about that this was one of her favorite palettes from them. And it's called the Center Stage Eyeshadow Palette. So this is what it looks like. So it's kind of similar to like Anastasia Beverly Hills layout. It comes with 5 shimmers and the rest are matte. So I feel like that wouldn't be too much of an overwhelming palette for me to try. It just looks like a really pretty palette. I feel like I would be more interested in trying like this type of palette rather than the Anastasia Sultry palette. I haven't really heard too much about the brand, but I've heard that their stuff is really good. So let me know if you guys have tried this. It says, Center Stage palette is perfect for day or night looks. It's filled with beautiful transitions and 4 beautiful shimmers. Boom was created for your brow bone and can be used in the inner corner of an eye for that beautiful finishing touch. We added 3 waterproof pressed glitters that will complement any look you create to give that extra sparkle. Use Pinky Rose silicone. Use in a small amount of product. A little goes a long way. Glitter is used to be pressed on the eyelid. They are waterproof and our formula does not need adhesive. That's pretty cool. However, adding adhesive becomes smudge-proof glitter. Cool. Okay. So I am very interested in trying their palette. So let me know if you guys have ever tried Pinky Rose. I feel like they would be a really interesting brand to try. And again, this year I'm really just trying to try new brands that I've never tried before. So okay, so then the next palette on my list is Artist Couture. Now for Artist Couture, I've never really branched out and used much of his products, but I've heard really good things about his products. So I'm kind of interested in Artist Couture, and the palette I'm talking about is the Supreme Nudes and Pressed Pigment Eyeshadow Palette. Now, Artist Couture did just come out with this new collection called like Supreme Nudes, and it came out with an eyeshadow palette and like with a couple of lipsticks and I think like some glosses. So the lipsticks I saw didn't really get very good reviews, and the glosses I think got better reviews than the lipsticks. But the thing that I was interested in was this eyeshadow palette. So it comes with 4 shimmers and the rest are mattes, but at the same time the mattes are like all very neutral, and then there's like 2 green shimmers in it. And then one's like neutral lid shade, and then like one darker neutral lid shade. So I don't know if I love the color selection, but the mattes look like a good color selection. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about this one. It's not like really on the top of my list. I did see I was kind of interested in it, but let me know if you guys have ever tried Artist Couture eyeshadows. I've heard pretty good things about his brand. I love his loose highlight that I have. I haven't tried the pressed ones yet because I always thought they were too expensive. But $40 is a pretty decent price for a 12-pan eyeshadow palette. So I'm kind of interested in his eyeshadows. And of course, he's available at Sephora. It's by Mac Daddy. Mac Daddy is a YouTuber. I think he started off with obviously working or maybe like just doing MAC looks, because I think that's why that's his name, because I think it's after like actually MAC Cosmetics. I'm probably wrong, but I think that might be why. He is amazing at makeup. I don't really watch him too often, but he's amazing at makeup when I actually do see his looks. So amazing. Okay, then the next eyeshadow palette is by Ofra, and for Ofra, I've tried their highlights, I've tried their, a couple of their liquid lipsticks, and I've tried like a couple of other things from them, but I've never tried their eyeshadow palettes, and they just came out with these small little like 5-pan eyeshadow palettes, and I'm like, ooh, this looks like the perfect opportunity for me to try one of their palettes. And This is the Ofra Sweet Dreams eyeshadow palette, and this is a little 5-pan palette. And this one comes with 3 mattes and 2 shimmers, and it looks like a really pretty, like, mauve-y, like, it has a couple mattes and it has 2 shimmers. I'm too nervous that my mom might be eating soon, so I'm gonna go eat. Bye. Right, you guys, sorry, I was just really anxious to eat dinner, so now let's get back to the eyeshadow palettes. So, I was talking about the Ofra Sweet Dreams eyeshadow palette, and by the way, the brisket that we had, oh my god, it was so good. We did like an abridged version of our Seder. It was so good. Oh my god, my mom made it so good this time. So anyway, this is what the Ofra Sweet Dreams palette looks like. It comes with 2 shimmers and 3 mattes. It kind of looks very similar to the Fenty Beauty palette that I want to get though, like almost too similar. I might have to compare both of them. But like I've said, I've never tried Ofra's eyeshadow palette formula before, and I thought this would be a really easy, small size palette for me to try their formula. I haven't heard the best about their eyeshadows, but they say that the shimmers are just as beautiful as their highlights. Like they're basically this, I think, the same kind of formula as their highlights are, so I would be really intrigued on trying this as well. I love Ofra. Basically anything I try from Ofra, they have amazing stuff. Honestly, the hype is real. Their highlights are stunning, and their lipsticks are honestly some of the most comfortable liquid lipsticks I've ever worn. Seriously, if you don't like super liquidy, like super matte liquid lipsticks, their liquid lipsticks are awesome. So I'm kind of interested in that palette. Okay, then the next brand I have on my list is another brand. I mean, all of these palettes and all of these brands' palettes I've never tried before. Like, I've tried other things from some of these brands, but all of these brands I've never tried their eyeshadows. But this brand I've never tried in general, and I'm talking about Ace Beauté, and it's called the Scarlet Dust palette. Now, I've heard very good things about Ace Beauté. I see them always featured in BoxyCharm. BoxyCharm sends out their palettes a lot, and I saw like this like 8-pan eyeshadow palette that like Marley got in one of her BoxyCharms, and it looked like a really beautiful palette. But there was another palette that they sent out not too long ago, I think a few months back, and it's called the Scarlet Dust palette. So that's what it looks like. And I just think it looks like a really pretty warm tone neutral palette with some pinks in there. And I just think it looks like a really stunning palette. It looks like you can do some orangey looks, some like more dramatic like cranberry looks. You could do something a little bit more maroony. And I think it just looks like a really pretty mix of colors in here. If I could show you without blinding you. So, looks like that. So it comes with 4 shimmers, and then the rest look like mattes. I'm pretty sure it's 4 or 5 shimmers maybe, and then the rest are mattes. I just think it looks like a really stunning palette. I think this is something I would definitely be interested in at some point. And there's only 12 shades in here, so again, I'm not like super overwhelming myself. So I feel like if I stick to one palette maybe every other month, rather than like running out and buying like a million palettes, because I did get the Storybook Cosmetics palette back in February, and that Storybook Cosmetics palette was on my maybe list for a while, along with the Melt palette, along with the Going Coconuts palette, and along with the Give Me Glow Vintage Rose palette, and with the Kaleidos palette. So those are all the palettes I decided to buy that were on my list. So I got about 4 palettes, and then the Storybook Cosmetics palette was gifted to me. So that's why I decided to take a seat back and not buy too many palettes right now, but it looks like a really pretty palette. So let me know if you guys have tried it. I know when Marley did a look on the Ace Beauté palette, she said that she loved it. So they do have really stunning shades, and it looks like a really good formula. Also, the Fancy Face always talks about their like blue-green palette. I forget what it's called, but she does like a ton of looks with that palette, and it's so beautiful. So if you love colorful looks, that's supposed to be a really good palette. Then the next brand I have in the next palette is Charlotte Tilbury. Now, and I have the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk palette. Now, with Charlotte Tilbury, I'm kind of like on the fence about most of her products because she is very pricey. She's not as pricey as Pat McGrath or Tom Ford. She's a little bit less expensive, but still, her products are expensive. But for me, they're a little bit more reasonably priced. They're like $40 to $50 rather than freaking like $100. So I'm talking about the Pillow Talk eyeshadow palette, and it comes with 12 shades, and that's what it looks like. Now, you guys know that I love the Pillow Talk lipstick. Obviously, a lot of people love the Pillow Talk lipstick. It's the #1 selling lipstick in the country, I believe. I don't know if it's the world, but it is in the #1 selling lipstick in Sephora's, and I think in the country. So it's an amazing lipstick. Obviously, it's super popular for a reason, but also literally Charlotte Tilbury's formula, like it's just so lightweight on the lips, and that's why she's so popular, because that formula is perfection. So anyway, I've never tried her eyeshadow palettes before because I've always thought they're a little bit too pricey. This one is pretty pricey. It's around, I think it's like 70 plus. But the reason why I'm kind of interested in trying it is that, one, again, there's not too many shimmers in it. There's only 4 shimmers, and it looks like the rest are mattes. Now, I do like how, like, she breaks down her eyeshadow palettes, that, like, she breaks them down into looks. So it kind of makes it easier and more basic for someone that's either first starting out with makeup. If you just buy, she kind of makes it so if you just buy this one palette, you can use it for any of those dates, like date, day, etc. Like this one's divided into day, desk, date, and dream, which is really, really cute. And I like that she does that, so it kind of makes it easier for someone who's either starting in makeup or doesn't know like how to put, you know, looks together, even though you can just experiment and do whatever you want, honestly. But it is nice to have like that start in palettes, because sometimes people say, even in a neutral palette, they don't know where to start. Like, they love that eyeshadow palettes have like all the colors in it, but they're not sure where to start sometimes on like what to do on their eyes. So this is actually a really nice way to like help people do like kind of a quick, simple look, like step by step kind of thing. Like for me, I would probably combine like day and desk together with the shimmers and whatever. Like I would probably always use at least six or more of these shades. Like they would be very interchanging for me, so I wouldn't just use 3 shades. Like you guys know, I always have to use at least 4 or 5 shades when I do an eyeshadow look. So it looks like a really pretty soft pink palette. I think it would be really nice around maybe like November. So I think I'm going to wait to possibly pick up anything from Charlotte Tilbury in November. In April, like I said, I'm kind of inclined to pick up the Fenty Beauty eyeshadow palette, but I've heard really good things about these bigger palettes from Charlotte Tilbury. Not so much her quads. I've heard that these are pretty good though, like her bigger palettes. So, and I do think they're more worth the money than buying like a quad for like $40 when you can get a big ass eyeshadow palette for about, you know, the same price as like 2 of those quads, which would be like $80. So you're getting 12 shades in here in this palette, when in the quads you're getting 8 shades for 2, and that's like $80, which is too much money for me. So we'll see. That one's been on my mind for a while because I saw it on Young Wild and Polish's channel, and she always like raves about Charlotte Tilbury. And yeah, she has great products. You guys know the Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder, the Airbrush Flawless Finish powder, is like my favorite powder of all time. So I'll let you guys know. And then the last brand, it's not really a specific. My boyfriend always makes up fun of the way I say specific. It's not a specific eyeshadow palette. It's an eyeshadow. Mostly this brand is known for their eyeshadows, and I'm talking about Cindy Grace. Now, I know that Little Mauve, if you're watching, I know that you have told me that I should try Cindy Grace for like the longest time, because Little Mauve always says that she loves eyeshadow singles more for me. I haven't picked up eyeshadow singles in a really long time just because I have so many palettes. I don't think I've picked up eyeshadow singles since I believe my sugar pill ones, and honestly, I thought that the sugar pill ones were very underwhelming. I kind of bought into the hype of people saying that they were so good and whatever. And then when I actually tried them, I didn't really love them as much as the Lime Crime, even though like Lime Crime wasn't really on people's radar for a while because, you know, of the whole scandal a few years back. But Lime Crime for me honestly makes way better eyeshadows than Sugar Pill. So anyway, this is not about that. So, but that's the last time I actually bought single shadows. So what I was looking at is I was looking at their eyeshadow palettes, but honestly, none of the eyeshadow palettes really appeal to me. Like this newer palette, I don't really love the color scheme. Um, so I don't know. I don't really love like the colors that are in it. What I was looking at was the eyeshadow bundles where you can get like 9 shadows and it's only $33, which I think is pretty good for 9 shades. I mean, obviously you can get 9 shades from ColourPop for about I think $12 to $16. They keep on raising their prices of them, but it's usually around $12 or $13. And the 9 pan bundles for Cindy Grace are $33, but I was kind of interested in this raspberry bundle. I thought this would be kind of interesting. Like it does come with some neutrals, but it also comes with some really pretty like raspberry tones. And I was kind of thinking about maybe possibly picking up one of the bundles. But Lil Mauve, if you have any recommendations for which colors I should get at some point, this probably won't even be until like next year though. Like I might declutter like a couple more eyeshadow palettes before I even consider getting anything from this brand. But I do think it looks like a really, really pretty bundle, but also maybe I'll wait until they possibly release any more eyeshadow palettes like later in the year or next year. So, yeah, I will let you guys know. I always, you know, she's always telling me to try them, but he also says that, wait, hold on. Oh, sorry. There was just like a Facebook post about Disney World, but anyway, so she always tells me to try them, but also I see them featured on the Fancy Faces channel all the time, and she always says that their eyeshadow formula is amazing, and she has like a ton of them, like insane how many she has. So I'll let you guys know if I'm gonna try them. Also, I keep on looking at Cleona's eyeshadows, like in it's called Cleona Cosmetics. Like I'm probably never going to pick up any of them, but I just wanted to give them a shout out. I'll look it up super quick. But she has like it's called Cleona Cosmetics, and I saw Tara Babes and the Fancy Face both post like swatching videos recently. Cleona Cosmetics. And it's called the stained glass. Sorry, my stomach's rumbling. I did just have brisket. It kind of like makes my stomach grumble a little bit. But they're called they're called the stained glass collection. But they can't even ship anything out until June or July due to the coronavirus. So it says they come in jeweled multichromes, deep iridescent multichromes, glitter multichromes, etc. And I always hear so many people raving about their eyeshadows, and I just want to show you like a couple of the pictures. Like this one looks like this, and etc. So I'm kind of interested at some point, but at the same time, it's like I don't wear these colors on my eyes half the time. So maybe, again, I won't purchase these until next year, but they did kind of spark my interest a little bit, and I heard amazing things about their shimmers. So yeah, that is it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what's on your mind, especially for the Sephora VIB sale. Let me know if you guys are going to pick up anything. I actually kind of want to just compare the Fenty Beauty eyeshadow real quick with the, yeah, they look super, super similar. Like there's a a lighter tone color in here. There's a couple of shimmers, and you know, like the Ofra and the Fenty, they're both very, very similar. So I don't know. I might change. I was thinking about also the number 7 Fenty Beauty palette or number 5. But we'll figure it out. For now, well, I'll figure it out, obviously, but for now, I just am interested in the number 1, so we'll see. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media. I hope you guys will let me know in the comments below, like, what eyeshadow palettes have been on your mind. Please let me know. I love you guys. Bye.